Welcome to Teolumen Insights, where we reveal the hidden forces that shape the way you live and show you how to use them to create real transformation and supercharge your health, mindset, and daily life. Here are your hosts, Emma Greenwood and Nathan Sinclaire.
Welcome back to Teolumen Insights.
I'm glad to be back.
Today, we're diving deep, really deep, into the work of Dean Radin,
Oh, fascinating guy.
a scientist who spent his career exploring those intriguing abilities we call psi phenomena.
Like telepathy and clairvoyance.
Precognition, psychokinesis, the whole shebang.
That whole shebang, yeah.
We've got a whole stack of his research and writings,
Yeah.
and we're going to try to sift through it all and
Extract the
really pull out
the
most
juicy
insights,
Yeah.
fascinating insights. For all of you, one of the things that really strikes me about Radin is how he approaches this topic with a real sense of scientific rigor.
Absolutely, and that's what makes his work so compelling.
He's not just collecting anecdotal stories
Yeah.
or, sort of
Absolutely.
speculating. He's actually using experimental methods to see if there's evidence that these phenomena actually exist.
Exactly.
So that's what we're going to dig into today, the evidence.
Yeah.
One of Radin's starting points is this idea that science is always evolving. Right?
Always evolving, yeah.
What seems impossible today, tomorrow, might be.
Common knowledge.
Absolutely.
He uses a great example.
Oh.
Lord Kelvin, back in 1900,
Oh, yeah.
famously declared that there was nothing new to be discovered in physics.
Famous last words, right?
Famous last words, right? Little did he know
Yeah.
that quantum mechanics was just around the corner.
It's amazing how much our understanding of the universe can shift in just a few decades.
It's incredible.
It really
It
is.
makes you wonder what we'll discover next, right?
It really does. And speaking of revolutions in physics,
Yeah.
Radin dives into this mind-boggling concept of quantum entanglement.
Oh, it's truly bizarre.
It really is. And how do you even explain this?
Well, imagine you have two coins,
Okay.
and they're flipping in perfect sync,
Okay.
no matter how far apart they are.
So one's here and one's on the other side of the planet.
Exactly. That's the basic idea behind entanglement. Two particles can be linked in such a way that what happens to one instantly affects the other, even across vast distances.
So it's like they're connected by some invisible thread.
An invisible thread, yeah.
Now, this isn't just theory,
Yeah,
right?
no. Entanglement has been experimentally verified numerous times. It's a real phenomenon, and
So this is actually happening.
it's happening, yeah.
Okay.
And what's really intriguing is that some scientists, including Radin, suggest that this phenomenon might play a role in consciousness.
Whoa.
And even psi phenomena.
Wait. You're saying our minds could be literally entangled?
It's a possibility.
That's a big jump. What kind of evidence does Radin present to support this idea?
Well, he starts with those classic ESP card tests.
Oh, yeah, the Zener cards.
The Zener cards, exactly.
With the circle, square, wavy lines.
Exactly.
Those have been used for decades, haven't they?
Decades to test for telepathy.
So remind me again how those work.
Well, you have one person trying to send the image on the card, and another person, isolated, tries to guess it.
Okay. And did Radin find any evidence that this actually works?
He did find statistically significant results, meaning it's highly unlikely the results were due to chance alone. In fact, he highlights this one experiment, the Pierce-Pratt distance telepathy experiment,
Okay.
where the results were astounding, like odds against chance of 1 in billions and billions.
Okay, that's pretty convincing.
Yeah.
But what about clairvoyance? The ability to perceive things beyond the normal senses.
Right.
Did Radin find any evidence for that?
He did, and he cites experiments on remote viewing,
Oh, yeah.
where people try to describe a distant location that they have no way of knowing about.
Right, they're trying to kind of see it with their mind.
Exactly, and there's one fascinating example involving Harold Sherman
Okay.
and this Arctic explorer, Sir Hubert Wilkins.
Wait, I think I've heard about that one.
You might have.
Wasn't Wilkins, exploring the Arctic?
Completely isolated, yeah.
While Sherman was back in New York, trying to remotely view his experiences.
Exactly, and get this, Sherman's descriptions, which were recorded in advance, matched up incredibly well with what Wilkins was actually doing and seeing.
No way.
He even described Wilkins' plane being damaged.
Wow.
And him having to dig it out of the snow, which actually happened.
That's incredible.
It is.
It sounds like something straight out of a movie.
I know.
So we've got telepathy, clairvoyance. What about precognition? The ability to see future events. Is there any scientific basis for that?
it gets even more fascinating here.
Okay.
Radin delves into this phenomenon called presentiment,
Presentiment. Okay.
where our bodies seem to react to future events before we're consciously aware of them.
Hold on. You're saying our bodies anticipate the future? How is that even possible?
It's a great question.
I mean, that's wild.
Yeah, and blowing.
So to explore this, Radin describes these experiments where people's physiological responses, like their skin conductance.
Change seconds before they're shown a randomly selected image.
Wait, so their bodies are reacting before they even know what's going to happen?
Exactly. And it's like,
Wild.
it's wild, right? Radin suggests this might be related to non-locality.
Non-locality.
The idea that our minds might not be bound by space and time in the way we typically assume.
Okay, that's definitely mind-bending. So what about psychokinesis? The ability to influence matter with the mind.
Right.
I mean, that's where most skeptics draw the line, right?
Of course.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Radin presents these series of dice-throwing experiments.
Dice.
Yeah, dice.
Okay.
Where people try to mentally influence the outcome of the rolls.
Mm.
And the results, though subtle, are statistically significant.
Interesting.
What's even more interesting is that the effect seems to increase with the number of dice used.
So the more dice you throw, the stronger the mental influence.
It seems that way, yeah.
That's crazy.
It is, and it's not just dice.
Yep.
Researchers have also found that people can influence the output of random number generators.
Oh, those devices that just spit out random sequences of zeros and ones.
Exactly, and instead of getting a truly random sequence, the results are skewed by the participants' intention.
So they're actually able to influence the output of a machine.
It appears. So
Wow.
one of the most well-known labs studying this is the PURE lab,
Pure lab.
the Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research Lab.
Okay.
They've got decades of data showing statistically significant results.
That's fascinating. So we're seeing statistically significant results for telepathy, clairvoyance, precognition, psychokinesis.
It seems so, yeah.
That's a pretty strong case for psi phenomena.
It is, and Radin doesn't stop there.
Of course not. He keeps going.
He takes things to a global scale with this thing called the Global Consciousness Project.
Yes, the GCP.
The GCP, yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about how that works?
So it's a network of random number generators, these RNGs,
Okay.
distributed all over the world,
All over the world. Okay.
constantly generating random numbers.
Okay.
The idea is that during major global events, when millions of minds are focused on the same thing,
Like a big news event or...
yeah, a tragedy or a
Same.
celebration,
Yeah.
there might be detectable changes in the randomness of those numbers.
So like a collective consciousness effect.
Exactly.
They can be measured.
They can be measured, yeah.
And what have they found?
The findings are pretty amazing.
Okay.
They've found statistically significant deviations from randomness during events like 9/11,
Wow.
the Y2K transition, and even major natural disasters.
Okay, I'm getting chills.
Yeah.
This is,
It's powerful stuff.
if this is accurate, this suggests that our minds are interconnected
Interconnected, yeah.
in ways that we're only beginning to understand.
It really does.
But let's be real for a second.
Yeah.
A lot of people are skeptical about all of this.
Of course, yeah.
How does Radin address that?
Well, he acknowledges that skepticism is healthy, especially when dealing with such extraordinary claims.
Right. I mean, it's
Yeah.
natural to be skeptical.
Absolutely. But he points out that many scientific discoveries, things we take for granted today, were once met with intense doubt.
Like what, for example?
He uses the example of ball lightning,
Ball lightning.
this rare phenomenon.
I've heard of that, but...
Yeah, where a glowing ball of electricity appears.
Right?
It was dismissed as a hallucination or a myth for centuries.
Wow.
But over time, as more credible reports emerged,
Okay.
scientists started taking it seriously.
Because it didn't fit into their understanding of how electricity worked.
Precisely.
Interesting.
But eventually, ball lightning moved from the realm of the paranormal to the paranormal.
Paranormal.
Meaning it's not fully understood,
Okay.
but it's acknowledged as a real phenomenon worthy of study.
So just because something seems impossible doesn't mean it's not real.
Exactly.
Our understanding of the universe is constantly evolving.
Always evolving, yeah.
Yeah, and that's...
That's the beauty of science.
I love that. Okay, so we've talked about the evidence for psi,
Yeah.
but what about the theories?
Ah, the theories.
Are there any scientific models that try to explain how these things might work?
There are.
Okay, great. Let's hear them. What are the main contenders in this psi theory arena?
Well, one category is goal-oriented theories,
Goal-oriented theories, okay?
which suggest that psi operates to achieve desired outcomes.
So if I really want something to happen,
Yeah.
my mind can kind of influence the probabilities to make it more likely.
That's the basic idea.
It's a mind-bending concept.
It is.
But it kind of aligns with some of the findings from those precognition experiments.
Yeah, and it suggests that the future could influence the present.
Okay, so what other theories are out there?
Another category is signal theories,
Signal theories, okay.
proposing that psi information is transmitted through some kind of unknown signal or field.
So like a mental radio wave or something.
In a way, yeah. Some theories suggest that electromagnetic fields might be involved.
Right.
But the evidence for that is still pretty weak.
Okay, what about noise reduction theories? I vaguely remember reading about those.
Yeah, those propose that psi isn't about amplifying a weak signal,
Okay.
but reducing mental noise or distractions, allowing us to perceive information that's always present, but usually drowned out.
So it's like tuning into a subtle radio station by eliminating all that static and interference.
Exactly. Yeah,
I like that analogy.
it's a good one.
What about quantum theories? Those seem to be gaining traction in explaining psi.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is where things get really interesting.
Okay, let's dive deeper into those quantum theories.
Oh, okay.
They're the ones that really pique my interest.
Yeah,
But they're also the most difficult to grasp, to be honest.
they are, yeah.
I mean, how do you even begin to explain how quantum mechanics could be related to psi?
Well, Radin's expertise in both physics and psi research really shines here. He explains these complex ideas in a surprisingly clear and accessible way.
So how does he connect quantum mechanics with psi?
He starts by explaining that one of the key features of quantum mechanics is nonlocality.
Right, that spooky action at a distance that Einstein famously objected to.
Exactly. Entangled particles influence each other instantaneously, no matter how far apart they are.
Right, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
But how does that relate to our minds and our experiences?
Well, Radin suggests that if our minds are ultimately quantum systems,
Which is plausible, since everything in the universe is made up of quantum particles.
right,
Okay.
then they might also be capable of non-local interactions.
Meaning our minds could be entangled with other minds?
Yes.
Or even with distant objects or events.
Exactly. And this provides a potential mechanism for telepathy, clairvoyance, and even precognition.
Wow.
If our minds are not bound by space and time, then these seemingly impossible abilities might be natural consequences of how the universe works at its deepest level.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all fits together.
Yeah.
But this is heavy stuff. Are there specific quantum models that Radin discusses in detail?
He does. He dives into the work of physicist Henry Stapp,
Okay.
who developed a model of consciousness based on quantum mechanics.
Okay.
And Stapp's model suggests that our conscious choices can actually influence the behavior of quantum systems in the brain.
So our minds are active participants in shaping reality. We're not just passive observers.
That's the implication of Stapp's model, yeah.
Incredible. It feels like we're on the verge of a major paradigm shift in understanding consciousness and reality itself.
I think we are. And Radin's work, along with other pioneers in the field,
Yeah.
is challenging that materialistic worldview that has dominated science for centuries.
Right.
It's opening up new possibilities for understanding the human mind and its potential.
This deep dive has been a wild ride so far.
It has.
We've explored some truly mind-bending ideas, and we're just getting started.
We are just getting started.
What other fascinating insights does Radin offer?
Well, to delve deeper into that, we'll need to move on to part 2.
Stay tuned,
Welcome back to Teolumen Insights,
where we are continuing our deep dive into the fascinating world of psi phenomena
with Dean Radin as our guide.
and picking up right where we left off with those mind-blowing quantum theories.
That attempt to explain how psi might actually work?
Right, we were just starting to wrap our heads around the idea that our minds might be quantum systems capable of non-local interactions.
Exactly. And to explore that further,
Okay.
Radin introduces this concept called the implicate order,
Implicate order.
developed by physicist David Bohm.
Okay, implicate order. That sounds intriguing.
It is. It's a way of thinking about reality as this multidimensional, interconnected whole,
Okay.
where everything is enfolded within everything else.
So kind of like a cosmic tapestry, where each thread is connected to every other thread.
That's a great analogy.
I like that.
And Bohm proposed that what we perceive as the physical world, the explicate order, is just a projection or unfolding of this deeper implicate order.
So the things we see and touch are just the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly.
There's this whole hidden reality beneath the surface.
Precisely. And this hidden reality is where entanglement and non-locality come into play.
Okay.
Bohm believed that everything in the universe is interconnected at this deeper level,
Okay.
and that our minds are part of that interconnected web.
Okay. I'm starting to see how this could relate to psi.
Yeah.
If our minds are entangled with everything else, then maybe we can tap into information that's not accessible through our normal senses.
Exactly. Radin suggests that psi experiences might be glimpses into this implicate order.
Okay.
Moments where we're able to perceive the interconnectedness of all things.
That's a beautiful way to think about it.
Yeah.
But how do we access this implicate order?
Right.
Is it something we can control or cultivate?
That's a question that's been explored by mystics in spiritual traditions for centuries.
Right, you think of meditation yoga. All those practices that aim to quiet the mind and expand awareness.
Precisely. And Radin suggests that these practices might actually be enhancing our sensitivity to the implicate order, allowing us to perceive information and connections that are normally hidden from view.
So we're not talking about supernatural powers here.
No, not at all.
Okay.
We're talking about natural human abilities
Okay.
that might be latent within all of us,
Interesting.
waiting to be awakened or developed.
That's empowering.
It is.
But if these abilities are natural,
Right.
why do they seem so rare?
Yeah. Why don't we all experience telepathy or clairvoyance on a regular basis?
Right, exactly. It seems like it should be more common if it's a natural ability.
That's a great question, and Radin offers several possible explanations.
Okay, let's hear them.
One is that our modern culture doesn't really encourage the development of these abilities.
Right, we're so focused on the material world
Yeah.
and logic
Logic and reason.
that we kind of dismiss anything that can't be explained by those frameworks.
Exactly. And if we don't believe in psi, or if we're afraid of it, we might unconsciously block those abilities from emerging.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It is.
Our beliefs shape our reality.
Precisely. But Radin also suggests there might be biological factors involved.
Okay.
Some people might simply be more genetically predisposed to psi than others.
Like maybe there's a psi gene or something?
That's a possibility, although there's no scientific evidence for that yet.
Okay.
But there is evidence that certain personality traits, like openness to experience and a willingness to trust one's intuition,
Okay.
are correlated with higher psi performance in lab settings.
So it's not just about genetics, but also about personality and mindset?
Right. And Radin emphasizes that everyone has the potential to experience psi,
Okay.
but some people might need more practice or guidance to develop those abilities.
Okay, that makes sense. But it still leaves me wondering how we can measure psi scientifically
Right.
if it's so subtle and subjective.
Yeah, how can we be sure we're not just fooling ourselves?
Right, or misinterpreting random events.
That's a valid concern, and Radin dedicates a whole chapter to discussing the methodological challenges of psi research.
Okay.
He emphasizes the importance of using rigorous experimental design,
Right.
controlling for potential biases,
Of course.
and replicating findings across multiple studies.
Right. That's the gold standard of scientific inquiry.
Exactly. And Radin points out that psi research has actually been held to a higher standard than many other fields of science.
Really?
Precisely because of the controversial nature of the subject matter.
So the skeptics have actually done psi research a favor by forcing researchers to be extra careful and meticulous in their methods.
In a way, yes.
Sure.
And this has led to the development of some very sophisticated experimental techniques that are designed to eliminate potential artifacts
Okay.
and rule out alternative explanations.
Okay, give us some examples. What kind of techniques are we talking about?
One technique is called blind judging,
Blind judging, okay.
where the people evaluating the data don't know what the expected outcome is.
So they can't unconsciously bias their interpretations.
Exactly. Another technique is using random number generators to select targets.
Yeah.
So neither the participants nor the experimenters know what the target is going to be until after the data has been collected.
That eliminates any possibility of cheating or subconscious cueing.
Right. And then there's the statistical analysis.
Yeah.
Researchers use various methods, but one of the most common is the geometric mean.
Okay, geometric mean. Remind me how that works again.
It's a way of calculating the average of a set of numbers
Okay.
that takes into account both the magnitude and the direction of the effects.
So it's not just about whether the results are above or below chance,
Right.
but also about how much they deviate from chance.
Precisely. And Radin uses the geometric mean to calculate the effect size,
Effect size.
which is a measure of the strength of the psi effect.
So the larger the effect size, the stronger the evidence for psi.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that the effect sizes for psi experiments, while small,
Okay.
are actually comparable to the effect sizes found in many other areas of science,
Oh, really?
like medical research or psychology.
So psi is not some weak fringe phenomenon.
No,
It's a real measurable effect that's on par with other scientifically accepted phenomena.
that's right. Now, shifting gears a bit,
Okay.
Radin also discusses the concept of siddhis,
CDs.
which are the paranormal powers described in those ancient yogic texts.
Oh, yeah, CDs.
Yeah.
Those are the really cool abilities,
Yeah.
like levitation, teleportation,
The
invisibility.
stuff of superhero movies.
Right. But Radin suggests that CDs might not be as supernatural as we tend to think.
Right.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How so?
He points out that many of the siddhis, like clairvoyance or telepathy,
Uh-huh.
are basically just amplified versions of the psi phenomena being studied in the lab.
So maybe those yogis who claim to have these powers are just people who have developed their natural psi abilities to an extraordinary degree.
That's a possibility, and it aligns with the idea of a continuum of psi abilities,
Okay.
ranging from subtle unconscious perceptions
Okay.
to dramatic, overt displays of power.
So we all have the potential to be Jedi Masters,
Maybe.
but it takes a lot of training and dedication to reach that level.
Perhaps. And this brings us to the concept of the perennial philosophy,
Perennial philosophy.
which is the idea that there's a core of wisdom that's common to all spiritual traditions.
Right. The idea of a universal truth that underlies all religions and mystical experiences.
Exactly. And Radin suggests that the perennial philosophy might actually be a reflection of the implicate order,
Okay.
a glimpse into the interconnectedness of all things
Okay.
that's accessible through deep introspection and mystical experience.
So maybe those mystics and sages throughout history
Yeah.
were tapping into the same underlying reality,
Mm-hmm.
the same source of wisdom and knowledge.
That's a fascinating possibility. It suggests that psi might not be just a random anomaly,
Right.
but a fundamental aspect of human consciousness
Okay.
that's connected to the deepest levels of reality.
Okay. My head is officially spinning,
I know, right?
but in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
This is some of the most fascinating and thought-provoking stuff I've ever encountered.
It is.
What other groundbreaking concepts does Radin explore?
Well, to unpack that, we'll need to move on to part 3,
Welcome back to Teolumen Insights.
where we're concluding our deep dive into the extraordinary world of psi phenomena.
We've covered so much ground already, from quantum entanglement to the implicate order.
And now we're going to tackle a term that Radin uses that might sound a bit like science fiction: anomalous consciousness.
Anomalous consciousness.
Yeah.
It definitely has a ring to it.
It sounds complex, but it's really just a way of describing those aspects of consciousness that don't fit neatly into our conventional scientific understanding.
So things like telepathy, clairvoyance, precognition, all of those would fall under the umbrella of anomalous consciousness.
Exactly, and Radin argues that these phenomena aren't necessarily anomalous in the sense of being abnormal or unnatural.
I see what you mean. He's challenging the very definition of what we consider normal, isn't he?
Precisely. He proposes that they might be part of a larger spectrum of consciousness,
Okay.
with our everyday sensory-based awareness at one end and these more subtle, non-local forms of awareness at the other.
So it's like a gradient with different levels of consciousness that we can access depending on our state of mind and level of development.
Right, and Radin highlights that many cultures throughout history have recognized and even cultivated these non-ordinary states of consciousness.
You're thinking of shamans, mystics, yogis, those who have traditionally been seen as bridges between the ordinary world and the realm of the spirit.
Exactly. And Radin suggests that these individuals might be tapping into the same underlying reality, the same interconnected web of consciousness that we've been exploring.
So are we talking about a kind of universal consciousness that goes beyond our individual minds?
That's the idea. And it connects to another fascinating term that Radin introduces, the noosphere.
The noosphere. I'm not familiar with that one.
It was coined by Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, a Jesuit priest and paleontologist.
A scientist and a priest. Sounds like someone who was comfortable exploring the intersection of different worldviews.
He was. And Teilhard de Chardin envisioned the noosphere as a kind of global mind, a collective consciousness that emerges from the interconnectedness of all human minds.
So it's like the internet, but for thoughts and feelings instead of data.
You could think of it that way. And Radin suggests that this noosphere might be the medium through which psi phenomena operate.
Interesting. So instead of our minds communicating directly with each other, we're all tapping into this shared noosphere.
That's a possibility. And it aligns with the findings of the Global Consciousness Project, which suggests measurable correlations between global events and fluctuations in randomness.
Right, we discussed that earlier. So those
Yeah.
correlations could be a reflection of the noosphere responding to collective human attention and emotion.
Exactly. And this raises profound questions about the nature of consciousness and the role of human intention in shaping the world around us.
This is all so fascinating, but I have to ask, if the noosphere is real, what does that mean for us as individuals? Do we have a responsibility to contribute to this collective mind? Can we consciously influence its evolution?
Those are big questions, and Radin doesn't claim to have all the answers, but he does offer some valuable insights.
I'm all ears.
He suggests that our thoughts, feelings, and intentions are not just private internal experiences.
Okay, so they're more than just personal experiences.
He believes they might actually be contributing to the collective consciousness of the noosphere, influencing the evolution of both human society and the planet as a whole.
Wow. So we're all interconnected, and our actions have ripple effects that go way beyond our immediate sphere of influence.
That's the idea. And Radin suggests that this realization comes with a profound ethical responsibility.
Of course. If we're all part of this interconnected web, we need to be mindful of the thoughts, feelings, and actions we're putting out into the world.
Absolutely. And Radin challenges us to consider the possibility that we can consciously contribute to the evolution of the noosphere by cultivating positive qualities like compassion, wisdom, and love.
So we're all co-creating this global mind, and we have the power to shape it for the better. That's a powerful thought.
It is. And Radin sees psi phenomena as a window into this interconnected reality, a glimpse into the incredible potential of human consciousness.
Well, this deep dive into Dean Radin's work has been truly mind-expanding. We've explored the evidence for psias, grappled with the implications of these findings, and even considered the existence of a global mind.
It's challenged our understanding of human perception, the nature of reality, and our place in the universe.
We've journeyed from the lab to the far reaches of consciousness, and hopefully we've sparked your curiosity along the way.
Whether you're a seasoned explorer of these topics or a newcomer to the world of psi, we encourage you to keep an open mind and continue exploring the incredible possibilities that lie beyond the realm of conventional science.
This has been Teolumen Insights. Until next time, keep exploring the depths of human potential.